Hello and welcome. This is Europa Universalis V, the Game of Thrones modification. I was recording episode 4 of the Civilization Let's Play, but I realized, and wow, that's a lot of troops, I realized I had not saved at the end of episode 3. So all of episode 3 is just non-existent in terms of my file. So I am going to return to that Let's Play. I'm going to likely end up just kind of skipping ahead to turn 155 on my own. And then we'll just pick it up from there, and there'll be some differences, but the major powers will probably be the same. But in the meantime, I decided we're going to start a new Let's Play. So I like the idea of taking one medium and seeing what we can do with it in terms of injecting something else. So we're playing, you know, a Game of Thrones version of Civ V here. We have the far north. We have a lot of wildling tribes here. A really cool thing about the wildling tribes, they actually have a higher force limit than the normal lords. As you can see, some of these guys are rocking 11, 14 stacks. The normal guys are starting off with about 1 territory each and, you know, 5, 6, 7k stacks here. So we are starting to see the first wars pop up. That's great. We're going to see some guys taking these multiple provinces here. So this is the Shattered World version, as you might be able to tell. The whole of Westeros is divided up into, for the most part, single counties. There are a couple double counties there. They have almost every house you could possibly think of, really. The modder did a really good job in terms of all the houses he put in this, where they are, their locations, and stuff like that. We do have Essos on the map here. It is not as filled in. There's a lot of uncolonized land, as you can see here. That will get colonized later into the game. I've played this mod before, and the AI will get exploration, and they will start to colonize. It's interesting because what I've seen is that a lot of the Westerosi houses will do the colonizing. They'll colonize these regions, and then they get conquered by the Essosi states. So we'll see what happens there. At least last time I played this mod, one of the small houses just on the coastline of the Vale did a lot of the colonization of the Royan River area, and they really increased the size of their territory through it, and then it all got taken away by some of the SOC guys. So I'm interested to see if that happens again. We do have the house favorite, House Targaryen, here in King's Landing. I am not expecting them to go very far. They're only a 1 province minor at the moment, so there's no guarantees there about what's going to happen. Just checking if House Targaryen was also in Marine, which they're not in this mod. Oh, there they go. We might see a full annex. This is the 3 region group getting taken over right now. Who's taking this? Hastwick. Ah, it's up here. Okay. Looks like they'll divide this up between themselves. Good for them. So we're definitely going to have to let it play through for a little bit before we start to see the consolidation of some states. But I wanted to do it through this version of the game because the sort of pre-made, you know, 7 Kingdoms version is a little too easy. I mean, there's not that many countries on a really big continent, and when one of them wins, they really just take over a whole bunch of the other ones, and it's not... I think this is a lot more fun. This is more random. We really don't know what's going to happen. It's hard to tell who's going to win. And the other ones, like, you know who's going to win. Like the North, the Reach. They just have more land, more manpower. And this one, you really can't tell who's going to win. Like, we got some interesting growth here on the coast of Blackwater Bay. I can see Lorath is going to town on Bravos here. Oh. Whoa, Lorath is... What? Lorath is beating Bravos and Mir at the same time? I'm kind of curious to see who they're at war against. Okay, so it's an alliance war. We got Volantis and Lorath versus Bravos and Mir. That's not good for them. They seem to be losing that fight. Oh no, Tyrosh getting double teamed here by Lyce and Pentos. That's no fun. That is not fun for them. I'm very interested to see who comes out on top in Essos because... Oh, the Dothraki. Already! Jeez. The Dothraki got beat by Marine and Umber, it looks like. And then Yunkai is trying to sneak in behind Marine, but it looks like they just got pushed back. So I'm not sure it's going to work out for Yunkai. Good luck there. We do have the Far East as well, as you can see. ET is the big dog around there. They tend to blob out. It really depends who tries to colonize the East as to who's going to challenge them. I'd love to see someone try to colonize Thoros, because I don't think I've seen that yet. And then we have the Summer Isles here. Okay, so we're starting to see House Talhart carve out a nice little space here in the north. That's good for them. This war in Bravos has come to a standstill, and I think they've been fighting there for not a short amount of time. We'll certainly find out. It'd be interesting to see the Wildling tribes consolidate because they have that higher manpower. If they did consolidate, they could pose a very serious threat to the south. It would take a whole other unified kingdom to hold them back, or a couple of them. You know, it might take an alliance. I do notice, last time I played this, that the big famous houses tend to do better. So House Stark, as you can see, is going about their first conquest right now. They blobbed really hard last time I played this. The Vale blobbed pretty hard. The Vale in particular, let me see if I can find it. The Erie is a mountain province. I mean, a lot of these are mountain provinces, but they do a pretty good job of holding their spot. Let me see, I think they have a unique building as well. I'm not positive. Okay, they don't start off with a unique building, but they start off with a level 8 fort, which I don't think... Yeah, these other provinces don't. See, House Corbe starts out with level 2 fort. So that's the thing, it's really difficult to siege the Erie. It's very difficult. And they also control the Bloody Gate, which is another level 8 fort province. So it was hard, very hard to siege the Erie. You have to really destroy their army before you can do anything, and even then, if you try to siege the Erie, there's a good chance the attrition's going to stop your army from getting very far. So they're in a good position to blob out, and that's the kind of thing I mean. A lot of these houses have good starting positions. Not so much for House Martell. There's not a lot special going on. They do have that 8 fort on their capital, but we'll have to see how far that takes them. Last time I saw House Euronwood actually, become Adorn, they have already lost here to House Weil, so that may not happen. We might see House Weil just replace them there, and they could blob out. The Reach is totally different. The Reach, it's super random who blobs out here, because we can already see a few different groups blobbing out. We have, who is this? House Musgood. The Tyrells are actually doing alright for themselves. Last time I played this, the Tyrells did really, really bad. They didn't blob out. I was playing as the Targaryens, and I was constantly trying to save them. I got pulled into so many wars in the Reach. I spent a whole bunch of my time just trying to keep House Tyrell alive. I eventually just had to let them go. I said, screw it, allied one of their rivals, and I let them die. Because they just weren't doing it. They were not getting the job done. So yeah, we're starting to see a lot more wars here. We're getting... Probably the AI is just getting more claims. They're starting to actually push a little bit. House Locke, there we go. Locked down the north there. That's cutting them off. So if you're gonna move north or south, you're gonna move through House Locke in some form or fashion. I think the twins here. Yeah, the twins have a decent fort. And House Targaryen does get level 8 fort. So I think all the starting houses are definitely getting these level 8 forts. Yeah. I think the modder did that to encourage them to do good. We'll have to see which ones actually do. House Baratheon was another one that didn't make it too far in my last playthrough. And this is interesting. Storm's End does not have a fort at all. Which, Storm's End is supposed to be the one castle in Game of Thrones lore that never fell. So if any of them was supposed to have an 8 fort, I never say that right. An 8 fort, I'm going to call it that. It would have been Storm's End, but I guess not. And yeah, they don't have any forts anywhere in their province. Now, I will say House Baratheon did okay last time. It was actually me that finished them off in the first place. I really don't know how they're going to do because they don't have a player, gunning down their throats this time. I do want to pull up a quick view here of the areas in this game. So you can kind of see the traditional divisions here, like the Seven Kingdoms divisions. And there are unification ideas in this. So if a house takes over most of Dorne, you will see them form the Principality of Dorne. Likewise with the Stormlands, they'll form Stormlands, Riverlands, all the rest. So we are eventually going to see what we would recognize as Westeros roughly appear on the map. That could definitely change because if a house conquers across those territories, if the Vale is to conquer part of the Riverlands, it's going to prevent someone from the Riverlands forming the Riverlands. They'd have to beat the Vale to form the Riverlands. And that definitely happens. We're going to see some cross-border invasions, and it's going to be difficult, not impossible, for some unification efforts to take place. Alright, did we see not too much of a grab here from Lorath, just a single region. I was expecting a bit more than that. Perhaps, yeah, it looks like Pentos took part of Mir. Huh. Didn't see that war happen real quick, I guess. Snuck right in there at the end of the last war, probably, and just took over without any actual resistance. Yeah, Yunkai tried and failed spectacularly to take Marine by surprise, but expected that. The Dothraki Sea is not very defensible. It's a lot of provinces and no forts. So I actually haven't seen the Dothraki to do very good here, which surprises me a bit. I would expect to see the Dothraki be sort of the menace in Essos, but they're not. Seems pretty quiet all along the eastern front. We're going to swing around the ocean here. It's a big ocean, by the way. This is a huge, huge ocean for anyone to cross. So really, we're going to expect to see all the travel take place between, the narrow sea. The north seems to be forming up a lot quicker than the other regions. It's wiping out the small houses. That said, it's also a much bigger region. Like, the provinces themselves are bigger than provinces you're going to find in the south. So it also just looks to the eye like a much more blobby place. For instance, House Musgood, they have 6 provinces here, but they don't look anywhere as big as House Locke, which has, I think, only 7. Maybe 8, yeah. So, yeah, but they're not much bigger than that, but just because of the size of the provinces, it looks substantially different. House Targaryen, doing well for themselves. Alright. Pulling it up. Who do we got here? House Merlin, not doing too bad for themselves on the Iron Isles. We could see them do fairly well. The Tullys, on their expansionist path here. Oh, they've gotten pretty far, all the way to Harrenhal. That's pretty good. Good place to be. I will say, though, that makes them border a lot of people. So they're going to have aggressive expansion with a lot more people. So, as an example, if House Heresy was to unite this little corner up here of the Vale, they'd only have an aggressive expansion with these guys around them. But if they expanded, straight out of the Vale in a line, kind of like how House Tully did here, they'd have aggressive expansion with everyone in this area. So how you expand can definitely affect how you're viewed. I tend to like to concentrate on a certain area first and sort of pick off my enemies one by one. I think House Tully may have made a few enemies. Let's check the opinion map mode and find out. Okay, so they do have a couple enemies here. These are definitely their rivals, and it seems like they are not friends with the House Targaryen. They are not buddies. Yeah, as I imagined, they rivaled them directly. Love to see what happens there. Got another associate war, Novros, going in for Pentos. I'm gonna guess here, Pentos spent a lot of troops and manpower in the Tyroshi War and the Mirish War. Novros has not gone to war yet, as far as I know. I don't think they have. So they're probably in a good position here to attack. Oh, that might be the decisive battle right there. Oh man. Yeah, I don't think Pentos is going to be able to recover from that battle. We're seeing 20 stack, and they're just trying to put together another 20 stack. Yeah, and they got attacked. This is not looking super hot for Pentos. Okay, they're pulling it back here a little bit. They're pulling it back. They don't have the momentum on their side, but... Oh no, if he attacks across this river, that... Yeah. Yeah, okay. He seems to have won that battle. Gonna call that war for Novros. It looks like Novros has the advantages. Pentos is putting up a good fight. Oh, yeah, there it goes. There it goes. Pentos put up a decent fight. It wasn't a bad fight. Oh, Mir coming back for revenge. Stealing a bunch of southern provinces. There you go, Pentos. That's a dish best served cold, as they say. Ooh, the Freys seem to be uniting their traditional lands of the Riverland, of the neck here. We do have some separatists. That's the big challenge with this map as well. So, separatists, for those who don't know, are generated by what nations can form. So if you control a region and you control, 4 past nations area, then you'll have 4 groups of separatists that can arise. Since this game has almost every single province is its own nation, almost every single province has its own rebellion ticker, which is not the best in terms of trying to hold down rebellions. So it's pretty hard to hold down your territory here, so the expansion can get difficult, let's say. But I'm going to cut it off here, folks. But before I do, I'm going to say it looks like House Locke is really coming out on top of the north. We may see them secure. House Aaron seems to be taking the Vale. The Tullys and the Freys seem to be doing the best in the Riverlands. Targaryen doing pretty well here in the Crown Lands. The Baratheons are taking the Stormlands so far. Oh, looks like House WoW already collapsed. That's not good for them. So Dorne's still up for grabs. The Reach, Musgood, I'm gonna say, seems to be doing the best, though Hightower's got a few provinces too. And in the Westlands, nobody quite yet. Can't say anybody's really standing out to me. Marbrand is doing okay, Marbrand. And then, yeah, House Maryland in the Iron Isles is clearly doing the best. So that's my assessment of the game so far. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next time.